This morning is Tom Waring and his son Alfie Waring, who took on a massive adventure. They drove all the way from London to Singapore overland in 2 Land Rovers, all in the name of charity. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, first up, congratulations on accomplishing such an amazing feat. I mean, we're talking about 23 countries, 15,900 miles. That's pretty intense. What was the inspiration behind this pretty crazy sounding idea?
Very crazy. Well, Al and I were at home one day. We were looking at an old documentary about the 1954 London-Singapore expedition, which was done in 2 Land Rovers. It was the first sort of big global expedition in Land Rovers. And I said to Al, I'd love to do that. And he said, well, let's do it. So fast forward about 9 months of planning, and we pushed off from London. We did it.
Yeah, I told Dad, let me sleep over it, and then gave him a call next day and said, let's do it. Next thing, I'll invoice for a new Land Rover.
Wow.
Yeah. This is making me ask the question, is that how it is, for you growing up with your dad? You seem like a really adventurous person.
No, I'm the sensible one. He's the really adventurous person.
Is that so?
No, to be fair, since my childhood, I guess, we've always been doing adventure trips like diving, skiing, etc.
Yeah, that's true.
We always,
and because we live apart, we like to try and do things together every year as well, or we plan something.
But this is such a meaningful father-son bonding activity. I mean, it goes beyond that even.
Well, luckily we had 2 vehicles, so we didn't get too sick of each other. So he was in one and I was in the other.
I was going to ask, how did you deal with the cabin fever?
Yeah, but we could pester each other on the radio. We had walkie-talkies.
I think we did that. It's important to do that. 2 separate vehicles, otherwise we can't kill each other.
So that was the real reason why the original expedition had 2 vehicles.
Well,
and you're like, we will carry that on.
Yeah, well, actually, they had some rivalry in inverted commas, but it was a big team. One team from Oxford University, one team from Cambridge University. But that was the original route. But we decided we'd do it in a couple of Land Rovers. 2 is much safer than just one anyway.
Sure.
And it gave us an opportunity to bring a cameraman with us and make some YouTube videos and make a film. And also gave us the platform to raise money for charities, both en route and in Singapore.
I did want to ask about that. Who else was part of your team? So you got your personal chef.
Yeah,
security,
exactly. My valet. Exactly. My guy to put the toothpaste on my toothbrush.
But yes, for charity, that's amazing, guys. Already, this expedition sounds incredible. And they're going the extra mile. Yeah. So how much have you wanted to raise a certain amount, right?
100,000 pounds, I believe.
Yeah, we thought a good target would be 100,000 pounds. And we've raised comfortably more than that. I think, Al, we're through at least 220,000 Sing.
Around 200,000 Sing, yeah.
And the money's still coming in.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good job. What a great thing to do for Christmas, just in time as well.
Very good. And we chose three interesting charities en route, little small micro charities, little children's charities, and two charities here in Singapore. So, it's been great. That aspect of it has been wonderful.
I believe the ones in Singapore are the Children's Aid Society and SAS Initiative.
Yep,
Thank you so much for doing that. I'm sure the kids and
help.
the organizations are so grateful.
We're delighted to help. They're keeping us busy here, aren't they?
Yeah, we actually got an event in a couple of hours' time. We're feeding...
You celebrities.
Yes, I know. Here we are, radio. No TV yet. But
Yet. Well, we are live on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're streaming live. Join us there, facebook.com/1FM913.
And also, we want to give a mention to Harry's, one of the partnering sponsors for this exhibition.
Yeah, Harry's were there all the way, right from the very beginning of the project.
Oh, wow.
Which was really nice of them. And one of their founders, or one of their owners, has been involved in one of the micro charities en route. And also we were raising money here for Children's Aid Society. So and they threw a great bash for us when we arrived.
Yeah, on Sunday at Dempsey. That was fun.
Yeah, it was great fun. Yeah. Well, they really got into the spirit of it, and they were following us, and they were having us on the video screen in their bars all the way through the expedition. So
I
it was
didn't
cool.
realize that. That's great. Oh my gosh.
It was a remarkable feat that you guys accomplished. It's not something that everyone gets up and decides to do on a daily basis.
Thank you very much. I think we don't take 100% credit. We got one of the 2 vehicles here. Out
a little accident.
Oh, wow. We got to hear about this as we head on over to Facebook Live, guys. You got to come and hear about this. Ooh, a little bit of an accident. Here on the Brightside, 1FM 91.3. Okay, we need the details. The confession starts now. What happened?
Go for it, Al.
Well, just massively gutting. I was we're driving at the end of a mountain pass actually in Tibet, and I was just going through this corner like any other corner throughout the whole trip, and unfortunately there was black ice, that dreaded black ice. So I just went around the corner. The back of the car slid 45 degrees, and as soon as I hit the dry tarmac afterwards, it flipped twice. Because these cars were super top heavy, and as soon as that happened, no control, just flipped over. But we're very lucky. With 3 of us in the car, not a single scratch.
Wow,
Really?
I mean, 90% of this journey there was like 300-400 meter drops, and luckily this particular part of the road there was no drop. So I think even though it was gutting not to get the car back to Singapore, she came back to the UK getting fixed. We got off very lightly.
Very lightly. I mean, it was actually very badly damaged.
Tom, where were you at that point?
I was just about to get into a bar.
A rat?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
No, literally, I was about 10 minutes further up the road than Al, and I'd arrived in this little town that was the next destination. And I'm out of the car and I'm walking into this cafe bar type thing, and the phone went, and Al said, "Dad, you better come back. I've had quite an accident." Okay.
No.
So I drove back wondering what quite an accident meant, and I came around the corner and there's Al's car on its side down in a ditch.
Oh my gosh.
But just luckily, I mean, people don't roll Land Rovers, old Land Rovers, and get away with it. Actually,
Yeah.
they're very fragile on top, and 9 times out of 10 that would have been a broken neck. And the 3 of them were completely unscathed. I mean, not a single scratch. I mean,
That is quite the miracle.
somebody was looking after them that day. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, but
that's
anyway, it's
horrid,
only
yeah.
metal, and it can be
She'll be back.
bashed and bent and fixed, and it's on its way to the UK, as Al says.
So how did you deal with that setback? How did you rearrange the trip to get back to Singapore?
Well, once we got it,
I mean, this was like border of Tibet and Yunnan province. So from Yunnan province to Laos, we had a hired car, and then from Luang Prabang to Bangkok, we had another hired car. And then Land Rover Singapore, actually, we were having a good discussion with them, and they very kindly lent us a brand new Land Rover Defender 110, which we drove from Thailand to Singapore, which is nice of them.
Yeah.
It was also notice the difference in technology between the two.
So you'd rather
cars.
keep the new one now?
I think that's definitely the case. He would rather keep the new one.
Is that the one that's being packed back to the UK?
I wish.
Yeah, we could have put that in the container instead.
It's nice that they did come aboard and support you
they
guys
did.
that way,
It
right?
was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was very nice.
I mean, but kudos to you for continuing on the journey, even in hired cars. I mean, a lot of people at that point would have been so spooked and probably decide,
And,
maybe I made it more than
Yeah.
3/4 of the way. That must count for something.
That's also one of the reasons why we had 2 cars,
For sure.
If
Yeah,
one of them had an
an
accident,
air and a
at least-
spare.
At least there's still another car that can finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A support vehicle.
Did put a bit of pressure on me to get the only Land Rover we had left back across the finish line into Singapore.
Who drove on that?
I drove my car the whole way.
Oh, right. I see.
Dad did every single mile, the whole
every-
trip.
every
I
single
think
link.
There's not many people who've done that, actually.
Tom, I have a very important question to ask you.
Go on then, go
Did
for
you
it.
go back to the bar after you saved
Oh,
Alfie?
most certainly. With the police that helped
Priorities.
us.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I mean, the police there were amazing.
They bought a lunch.
Yeah,
they
but
refused for us to pay.
bought you a lunch.
They dragged his car out of a ditch, got it upright, took it to their police station, entertained us royally. I mean, we had the most wonderful experience out of the most awful
I
circumstances.
think it's not every day they get foreigners crashing Land Rovers.
It was like a celebrity disaster.
Hey, the expectation has been set. Tom, you know you're a celebrity now, right?
I'm
You know
not sure
you
about
are.
that.
Yeah,
I've bored a lot of people with a lot of videos.
Oh my goodness! And you said that you had an official cameraman with you guys,
Yeah,
right?
Anton
And
Delibove,
where
yeah.
can we see these videos?
Okay, so I think there's a link to our YouTube channel. So we've got 10 episodes on YouTube. There'll be another 4 coming before we've finished a little series.
Is that London to Singapore as well?
Yep, London to Singapore.
YouTube?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it
Because
is,
that's your
yeah.
website, right?
Yep.
Ah.
So the YouTube is under the same name
Yes,
as
it
well.
is London to Singapore. Don't need expedition on the end of it.
Very, very cool. We're going to hit back in just a bit. Hey, remember everyone, if you're tuning in, chime on in with your questions. I'm sure you've got many. Maybe you too want to take such an overland expedition as well. You might want to get some tips from our 2 gentlemen joining us here on the Brightside. So come and join us on 1FM 91.3.
Shalimar, a night to remember here on 1FM 91.3. Oh boy, our guests for today, Tom and Alfie Waring, definitely have several nights to remember after driving all the way from London to Singapore, all in the name of charity. So welcome back, you guys. Thank you so much for doing such great work. You put your life at risk as well in doing so. 23 countries, 15,900 miles. Quite the harrowing experience in China where Alfie, you came out unscathed. My goodness, we were just talking about that on Facebook, how your Land Rover ended up in a ditch. What at that moment, what were you thinking?
I remember
the
car was on its side and I was just kind of hanging on my seat. I was like, that just really happened. And first thing came to my mind was, oh no, can't finish the expedition with this car. But I looked around, everyone was safe, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
When I came around the corner and saw the car on its side, I knew they were okay because I'd spoken to them on the phone. First thing I thought was expensive.
Either to repair the body or the car, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Either
for
way.
sure. I mean, those are real costs. But you mentioned earlier 9 months of planning, right, that went into this before you embarked on your expedition. Can you share with us a little bit about, what you had to take note of in planning for such a great expedition?
Well, I mean, in short, 23 country borders, the paperwork to be able to get foreign cars through each border and through each country, the route, planning where to stop, planning the sort of the spacings and timings, how far we would drive most days, etc. So I mean, it sounds very daunting when you think of London to Singapore. It seems, wow, jolly long way, etc. And you think of 4.5 months. A long time, but if you just do it step by step, day by day, and you plan it that way, the plan came together. But it did take a while to put it all together. Yeah.
Were you familiar with any of these? like crossing so many borders, the things to take note, or was it really a learning experience for the both of you?
It was definitely a learning experience for the both of us. But we had some consultancy from the 2019 Singapore to London expedition.
Okay.
Yeah, so they gave us a lot of helpful tips, helpful contacts, and which routes were best and safest.
I see. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Safety particularly, I mean, we went through some very remote and difficult areas, and we weren't able to travel through Russia or Iran or Myanmar, for example, and the British consulates and the British embassies, it sort of snowballed. We sort of got taken under their wing, and there was somebody looking at us for most of the dangerous bits or the tricky bits or bits that might be difficult to get out of. And
That's
we're
good
very
to know
grateful.
that someone's looking out for you.
Yeah,
they know where you
were
are.
really great.
Yeah.
Was it a drone or they sent like an army tank? Or
No, they probably would have sent a tank. No. I mean, they just, we just checked in with the embassies on route.
Tracked us.
Yeah, they tracked us. They spoke to some local police in certain countries and things. So no, that was helpful.
Now that you've accomplished this feat, what are your thoughts? You've never done this before, so...
Oh my word, no, never driven beyond France practically before.
How does it all feel? How are you processing this journey?
Yeah.
Ow.
I mean, it was a bit surreal coming in Singapore over the weekend. Our first pit stop was Raffles Hotel, having a drink at a Singapore Sling and a long
Oh,
bar.
nice.
But I think it's quite nice waking up every day, not having to get up and drive somewhere. It was quite good. But look, I mean, it was, we loved it because every day was different. It's a great experience.
Saw some amazing places, met some amazing people. And it was a great experience.
You kind of get the bug after such a long time.
Right, so now you're planning part 2, or...
Yeah.
We'll
Is it
see.
part 2?
Maybe.
Oh, yes, you have to drive back to London, right? No, you have to drive back to London.
No,
right?
we're not driving. I'm very much not driving. So Al's car's going back to the UK now as we speak. It's in a container from Shanghai to London, and that'll be rebuilt. That'll take 3-4 months probably.
It was really badly smashed up.
I mean, yes, basically it was quite a big impact. So mine will go back in a container just after Christmas.
Okay.
And then we'll regroup. We'll get them rebuilt and serviced, and then we're thinking about what to do next.
Can I ask? Do your cars have names?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine was called Imelda.
Yeah. Imelda. What is the story behind the name?
Well, it followed my car. I named my car Ferdy.
That's cute.
short for Ferdinand.
Okay.
Everyone thinks that it's because of Ferdinand Marcos. Actually, it's Ferdinand Magellan,
Okay.
who was the explorer that did the first full circumnavigation of the Earth.
Wow, very
And
meaningful.
then, of course, everybody said, "Oh, it's going to be Ferdinand Marcos," which we're talking about. So naturally, we named Al's car Imelda.
Because he thought the same thing as well.
Everyone thought.
And is that why you guys are heading to the Philippines after this?
Yeah. My family.
You were invited
family are
by
there.
the president. He's like, thanks for naming your car. Actually, I didn't, but never mind. Well, I want to hear some of these stories. You said you met some incredible people, saw some really incredible things. So, hey, everyone, our Brightsiders, come and join us on our Facebook Live and come and hear about these incredible stories from these two amazing guys. I can't believe you guys did that. Oh, wild.
Good morning, everyone on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got Tom and Alfie Waring in the studio, and Sheikh Daniel, who was just chiming in earlier for Hot Topic. He actually wants to know, how much does it cost for such an adventure from London to Singapore?
Yeah, good question. Good question.
I knew that was about the only question we were going to get today. Look, the honest answer is we haven't added it up.
Okay.
We have a budget. We had a budget which was a reasonable chunk of change, but probably less than some people would think to bring two cars all the way around the world.
Okay.
But we haven't added it up yet. But it's quite a lot of money. It's not the sort of thing that you do without a lot of preparation.
Sure.
And we had the determination to basically fund it ourselves. But all of the donors that we brought in, I mean, if you look at our cars, maybe on Facebook or whatever, they've got great liveries with a lot of people, a lot of companies who've donated to our charities. So we used the cars really and the project as a platform to raise money for charity.
And every single cent went to the charities.
Every single
None
cent.
of it was used for maintenance or repairs, etc.
No,
right?
that-
Which is what I appreciate about what you've done.
Yeah, we funded the whole trip ourselves. And to answer your question, ballpark, you have to say a number, $60,000 per vehicle.
Yeah.
Per vehicle. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was how many months on the road?
4.5.
4.5.
What a steal.
Yeah.
Actually, if you think about it that way, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
The distance that you've covered. So you mentioned that, this was such an incredible expedition. Every day you're waking up, incredible sights in front of you. You've got some really great stories to share with us.
Well, I don't know how long have you guys got.
We're here until 10.
I mentioned earlier we obviously Alfred's accident was one of the ones that springs to mind immediately, and I think my experience that take out from that after the event was just how the police there responded to us, and they were so hospitable. I mean, they were giving us boxes of apples. They bought us lunch. They had us in their officers' mess for basically a whole day. The chief of police from that region got out a local Tibetan instrument and started playing.
Oh my gosh!
So if you want to name one slightly bizarre but totally incredible cultural interaction that it was unique actually. So that was one. We met a lot of, I'm sure Al's got hundreds too, but we met a lot of nomadic farmers in Kyrgyzstan, some in Kazakhstan too, when we were up in the remote areas there, and they were so excited to see us.
Oh wow!
Despite the language barrier, it was wonderful. It was really good. And in fact, I would say that the highlight is meeting the people everywhere we went. I mean, people were just amazing. It does lift your faith in humanity, and it was really good. And then when people found out we're doing it for charity, I mean, God.
Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't have any aggression at all throughout this whole trip. Everyone was so welcoming, smiling.
That's great.
Just very interested in what we're doing, and just not every day they see guys just driving through all on the way to Singapore.
So there was no moment you felt unsafe?
No, absolutely not. Never, not once. It was bizarre. But other little things that spring to mind. We were in a filling station in Uzbekistan, and this guy in a really beaten up old car drove around and stared at us a couple of times, and then parked his car, opened the back of his boot, and grabbed 4 enormous loaves of bread, ran over and presented them to us, and insisted that we take his bread. Just wonderful.
So sweet.
That is so sweet.
Yeah. I mean, just you realize the generosity and kindness of strangers, right? On trips like
very much
these.
so.
Yeah.
Very much so, yeah.
Can you break down what your itinerary was like? So, how many days would you drive and then stop, take a break?
How many hours?
Yeah.
I think every week would have like 2 days break from driving, which is really important. I think, from London to Istanbul, we really did that in a week. So that was like really full on.
Wow.
We were behind schedule.
We were behind schedule from the very start because I had my car.
Too many pub stops.
I wish.
It's been 2 hours.
I
Let's
wish.
take a break.
My car had a bit of an engine problem in the first 25 kilometers of the trip.
No.
So we had to change the engine.
Had to be Imelda.
Yeah.
Well,
She is
The
naughty.
ladies.
She wanted her shoes,
But I mean, the schedule was basically depending on where we were, and it was mostly predicated by how good the roads were, or were there any roads. So some days, when the roads were really good, we'd do 400, 500, 600 kilometres. Some days when there weren't very good roads, or the roads were unpaved, we might do 200 or 180, that type of thing.
Okay.
So it was conditions dependent, really.
I mean, the longest drives we probably did was 14 hours.
Yeah.
But we only did 3 or 4 of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
But on average, it'll be around 6 hours for the
Yes,
drive.
that's exactly right.
And what did you do to keep yourself perky and awake?
Very good. We had to have very good playlists.
How many hours did you have on your...
Hundreds of hours of
Because
play.
after a while, it starts to repeat, right? Your
Yeah,
Spotify
yeah.
playlist, and then you're like, here we go again for the
He was very
fifth time.
organised with his playlist. In Ferdy, I didn't really have one. So I was very bored of about 4 albums after about 3 weeks.
It goes really quick. Yeah.
does, yeah.
It was
But
like,
we had walkie-talkie, so we're always like in comms. And to be honest, the scenery was amazing. It's just,
Tell us more about that. We're going to head back on air on 1FM 91.3 and join us on the Brightside.
Shania Twain, that don't impress me much here on 1FM 91.3. Oh, but lady, have you met Tom and Alfie Waring? They will impress you. They've just accomplished an amazing feat driving from London to Singapore in 2 Land Rovers, all in the name of charity. Tom and Alfie, thank you so much for the wonderful work that you've done, the funds that you've raised for the kids in the charities. And every single cent went towards the charities, none for your repair or, promotion or anything like that. So well done, you guys. Just a fair, you were telling us about your adventures, across 23 countries, 15,900 miles, and just the kindness of strangers that you encountered as well. And one of the things that also struck you, Alfie, on the trip was the scenery.
Yeah, we obviously saw some spectacular scenery. I think the best parts were definitely Kyrgyzstan, Tibet, Nepal.
Paint us a picture.
Well, obviously having the Himalayas in the backdrop, which is unbelievable. We actually drove to Everest Base Camp, Tibet side, which you can actually drive to.
Would you have maybe climbed it a little? I don't know.
Listen, I could hardly put up a deck chair. I was so out of breath. But no, we have one of our kind donors is a company called Melville and Moon, and they make safari furniture. And one of the things I wove into the old-fashioned campaign chairs.
Cool,
tents
very, very
and
cool.
tables
Which is
and
useful on your expedition,
Well,
right?
actually, so we basically planned to drive to Mount Everest Base Camp and set their equipment up and replicate a photograph exactly of a photograph that was taken of the British Mount Everest Expedition exploratory team from way back when, an old black and white photo. So we lugged all this kit up to Mount Everest Base Camp from the car park. All the photos won't show you the buses in the car park. They'll show you the lovely views up to Mount Everest. And we set these chairs up for Melville and Moon, and we did a replica photo. So that was fun. So the scenery. Obviously you don't beat the scenery in the Himalayas, as Al said. But some other places were absolutely breathtaking. Even going across the rolling plains in Turkey, I'd never done that. It was beautiful. Kazakhstan, some wonderful views. Uzbekistan, wonderful. As Al said, China, even through Yunnan province, some stunning scenery. In fact, we found lovely stuff practically everywhere. I can't think of a country I would sit here and say, well, when we went through that, it was rather ugly. but we planned our route for it to be
Not going there again.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I've got one or two of those. But
Oh, where?
Share.
no, that would be very unfair.
He'll be banned from the tourism.
I will be. No, and I had a bit of health issues going on, so that probably wobbly tummy and whatnot. So that probably meant that one or two places didn't quite make my favourite list.
What are some challenges, for the both of you, that you encountered during the exhibition? What was the most difficult bits,
I think having the dedication every day, getting up every day, and doing the drives, because it kind of gets quite repetitive, especially these like long straight roads. But
some days you're like,
honestly, I found the whole expedition pretty. Wasn't as challenging as you can imagine.
Really?
Yeah,
no.
I thought
Except for falling in a ditch.
Yeah,
in Tibet.
apart from that.
A minor inconvenience there.
I find it. It's like getting up every day, knowing there's a new experience coming your way. I think that kind of gets you up every day. And
so that's a real reason why you fell in the ditch. He's like, this is not exciting. I'm going to make it exciting.
Exactly.
For me, for Dad.
Let's switch things up a bit today, Dad.
Hiya!
He's a lot younger than me. So I'm in my 60s, and I think the thing that was tough for me was to get enough quality sleep consistently. You know, it's like when you travel and you're in a hotel room every different bed every night.
Yes.
Well, if you multiply that by 126 days, and we weren't always in hotels, we were in guest houses or homestays or whatever it was, getting enough rest and being fresh to start the next day for me was tough, and I ended up with a sort of cumulative
sleep
deficit.
Okay.
Which there was one period of 3 days in, I can't remember where it was, Tbilisi, where I was ill because of that. And it took me a bit of time to catch up. But so definitely stamina-wise for me, that was tough. Actually.
Yeah, because I think without sleep and proper sleep, it really affects you. And I can't imagine like getting behind the wheel, and if you're tired,
concentration.
What if just 1 second of nodding off? I mean, that can be dangerous, right?
Yeah, they're very physical to drive too. I mean, they're not comfortable modern vehicles. I mean, the inside of a Defender 110 is tiny. So that's why I sit like this.
Well, Jeremy Clarkson would be proud, I'm sure.
Jeremy Clarkson would think we're completely and utterly mad.
Like he is.
Yeah.
He is too. Office rocker, just slightly.
Yeah.
So thank you for the good work you've done for all the charities you've been working with. You've met your target, right?
Yep.
And how can people still donate?
Okay, so our Instagram page, which I think is on your links there. I hope it is.
Staring at my screen.
Yeah.
LondonToSingapore.com, that's your website.
Yeah, and Instagram is London to number 2 Singapore Expedition. And there's a Stripe link on the Instagram bio or profile there. So anybody, it's very simple. You click the Stripe link and you can donate by credit card.
Or Apple Pay.
Or Apple Pay, yeah. So that's the easiest way.
That's really easy for us to do. We just have to click, just scroll through a couple of links and click. We don't have to drive through 23 countries, 15,000 miles.
Yeah.
So, hey, do your bit for some of these children's charities.
Yeah,
the link
thank
will
you.
be open from now all the way till a certain time?
Yeah,
or?
it's basically until we get our last YouTube video up, which is going to take probably another 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll basically close it when we've done all the YouTube videos.
Okay.
And we'll add it all up, and then we'll send all the money to the charities.
Yeah.
Really bless you guys.
Thank you.
What you did was incredible already, and for you to make it all about charity, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we want to thank you once again for joining us here
Yep.
on the Brightside. We must go and check out those videos. And again, your YouTube channel
Yep,
is
let's do it.
London number 2 Singapore.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hopefully Netflix comes a-calling,
Let's
with
see. You never know.
documentary.
We are making a film.
wow.
So the YouTube, that's why we brought Anton with us as well, just to give us a chance to have enough content. So the YouTube videos are they're like a snapshot of the various countries we went through and some of the trials and tribulations. And then we're gonna collate all the film footage that we've got, and we'll put probably about a 55-minute film together, and that'll be entered to the Adventure Travel Film Festival in the UK next year.
What
Awesome.
happens if like some broadcast channel comes to you and says, your story is incredible, but can you do it again so that we can shoot it ourselves? Would you be like, no?
If they paid us what they paid Ozzy Osbourne for the Osbournes, we'd be all over that. We wouldn't do it in the same direction because that would be boring, but we would do something very, very similar but maybe in a different direction.
Alrighty. I wish you all the best, especially for your future adventures as
Thank
well.
you.
We're definitely going to keep
Thank
an
you.
eye on that and see where you end up next, where you're heading to next. Guys, enjoy your last few days in Singapore before you head off to the Philippines, and Merry Christmas as well.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas to you and to all of your listeners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good times,
Good times. Great FM.